Agenda item number 2, public comment. If anybody would like to approach the council and make a public comment on anything that's not on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to do so. Just state your name and address. Come up to the podium.
Mike Fando, 125 17th Avenue Southeast. Just a couple comments. I was just in the work session. A couple things I wanted to say. Pros and cons. You stated the pro was we get a pond built by these guys for future retention. I feel that is a pro to a self-inflicted wound. If that road, A, we don't own it, it's county operated, and B, it was just resurfaced. So we're looking 20 to 30 years out before any of what you're proing is going to be needed. The other comment I wanted to make is I don't feel us as a city should be jumping through any hoops to make things more convenient, less cost, or anything to make their project smoother, quicker, or easier towards approval. You're for it. You're for it. Those are the two that I heard in there, maybe three. But please listen to the city. You said that we need housing. From what I heard, there's a 5% open rate in the city of St. Joe. That's more units than they're proposing building. So I do not see a need for more for more high dense. Let's focus our town on people who want to live here, who want to plant roots here, and more single family.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else for public comment? Seeing no others, we'll close the public comment period. Item number 3, approval of the agenda.
I move to approve.
Second?
Seeing a motion is second, any further comment? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consent agenda.
I move to approve.
I'll second that. Seeing a motion is second for the consent agenda, any other comments? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, public hearing for special event Rocktoberfest. Therese or David, are you carrying that one?
Yeah, I'm getting started on that one here, so thank you. So we have a public hearing tonight for the special event request for Rocktoberfest. So a little background on this, the St. Joseph Booster Club has submitted a special event application for Rocktoberfest. This event will occur on Saturday, September 27th from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. and would take place in the church parking lot on the corner of Minnesota Street and College Avenue. The street closure requested is from Minnesota Street from College Avenue to First Avenue Northeast. And the request also includes adding a third off-duty officer specifically for traffic control. So that was what the request has come in. Specifically, we have had some discussion with the event organizers on this with both myself and Chief Annenstein. We can certainly address the council with that, with what the recommendations would be, more specifically as far as what we would be requesting for closing College Avenue, starting at Baker, but allowing some access to get into that lower parking lot. So if you look at the map there, so it would show that Minnesota Street and College Avenue would be closed there. So if you're coming, say, east on Minnesota Street, from the west there, you would be able to turn left, but you would not be able to go straight or turn right. That block of Minnesota Street to the east of College Avenue would be closed. And also there would be the road closure at Baker Street on College Avenue, and that would allow traffic to come to go up College Avenue to get into that lower parking lot. However, but there would not be through traffic. Also, there would be a soft closure on First Avenue for that alley, meaning you could get in for those houses that are there. They can get into their property. However, they would not be able to go through on that alley. So, with that is kind of what some of the discussion has been. But we will hear what any of the comments are from the public.
So with that, we're going to conduct a public hearing. We want to open the public comment period for anybody that'd like to speak on the matter. Chris, you just want to state your name for the record?
Oh, yeah. Chris Yanchar, I just want to say, I think everybody should
get a raise, so I want to start with that. You guys are doing fantastic. Anyways, hey, thank you for this opportunity. I spoke to you guys last year, and we had some discussion back and forth about the road closure. And I want to start by saying I'm really grateful that the city works with us so much on this event. I want to highlight what this event is for. We're exclusively raising money for the Catholic school. If you follow some happenings within the diocese, they're closing schools, they're closing churches. There's many of us here that the only reason I ever come to St. Joe, I drive by 3 churches and a couple schools to get here, is that. So I think it's a great asset. Obviously, that's been around this city for a long time. So, and David, I do want to say that although we disagree, I think David and Dwight have been very respectful about our disagreements. My proposal was, as stated, just to close off right in front of our event. And for some folks that may not know about our event, it is completely enclosed. We spend a lot of money on fencing to do that. We regulate the entrance. There's only one exit and one entrance. We have no use for the streets, like some other events that set up booths and things like that. There was no spillage. I submitted in your packet. We're completely enclosed. I disagree with the city's recommendation and Dwight's, and I'm gonna lay out why. My number one issue is the south lot, south of our event where it is, so towards Baker Street, that's a large portion of parking that we're trying to get access to. That's what the crux of this disagreement is. Last year was the first year that you guys closed off College Avenue South for our event. And I want to highlight that no one has come to me and given me specific examples or evidence that there was ever an issue with our event from a road closure standpoint, that, there was an accident or a possible accident. We obviously tried to do that. Our number one complaint was accessibility of parking, especially for people who aren't very mobile. Again, our event is kind of a two-wave event. We have a traditional polka band that comes in right away, draws a very elderly crowd. They have mobility challenges. There's no way around it. It was suggested last year that, well, they can just use the parking lot in Heritage Hall, which is true. However, it's really not adequate from the size of our event. And so what I'm asking is to leave College Avenue open, so we have access to that lot, which I'm gonna highlight again. That's a private lot. The church owns it, rents it to St. Ben's. And I think there's also some advocacy here that the road closure is infringing on the, rights of, if you will, the church to access their own lot. So like I said, the accessibility is the main reason why. So why I think you should consider deviating from David's recommendation is past precedent. So last year, when I was discussing this in front of this council, it was stated to me that even though you hadn't closed off other events in the manner that you're closing ours, that you're going to in the future. And I had asked David, I said, have anybody else been in front of you, and what have you done for road closures? And so I looked that up. And I'm not picking on these events, I'm just showing you guys these for comparison. Log Jam, I have their application here, and I do want to say that Sean and Ann have been great sponsors of ours. I think that goes through a great cause with the fire department. 1,800 people, we have 1,800 people, okay? They're having a band, they're serving intoxicating liquor, we are not. We're completely fenced in, they are not, okay? They're on a 1/4 acre lot, we're on 3/4 of an acre as measured on Onyx. We're completely on a private lot. They're over the top, I believe, of right away with that alley. Yet you guys close no roads. And I posed that question to several people, and one of the excuses or the reasons I heard was that I think I got from Dwight or somebody, some combination of, that people approaching on College Avenue South, that's the concern of traffic zooming through. Okay, I drove the city today multiple times. if there's a visibility issue, it's like with College Avenue North. There's parking on both sides of the road. If somebody was coming to our event from the south, they'd likely park in the lot that I'm trying to get. Number two, there is no parking on that road. The visibility, you can see from 3/4 of a mile away, as soon as you come over, the hill back here a little bit. So I don't buy that argument, at all. The other one is Rock for Alzheimer's. Historically, I don't think there's been road closures. So then I looked and I said, okay, I want to look at it from your guys' perspective. When have you closed roads? You've closed roads when the events use the roads. Like they have stands. I'll give you an example. Would be the Arts Fair. Is it Millstream Arts Fair? They report 5,000 people, and I believe you closed College Avenue Minnesota in front of the church, and then you closed College Avenue South, which makes sense because their diagram literally shows they're putting booths there and vendors. And I'm coming back to, these precedent. I don't care if that's your guys' application within this city, that's your prerogative as a council, but I do think it's extremely important to apply this standard across the board. So back to my event. You didn't close them down for those other two. I'll agree to one close, and I think that's being extremely reasonable and generous of us. And my reasoning isn't anything except for I want access to a private lot, which, by the way, the city benefits greatly from this lot. And when the church and the school is trying to throw an event, we don't have access to our own lot because of, in my view, your guys' closures on that. I made my point about the streets. We have a stellar safety record too. We have a gentleman that typically paroles around the perimeter the entire time. Again, to my knowledge, nobody's ever told me that there's been an issue with a pedestrian in a car. 2 years ago, when I first started on this, by the way, we're all volunteer staff, there was an issue the previous year where a gentleman that I don't think was even part of our event came into the front towards the close and tried to steal a bunch of our merchandise. He was asked to leave, and maybe Dwight can attest to this, but this is my memory. Asked to leave several times, he didn't, so then the officer said, well, we're gonna have to write you a ticket. They had to pull some resources from the city. So then the next year, they said, hey, we probably need 2 cops. Awesome, no problem. The other discussion around this has been, if you leave it open, then maybe, and this was my idea initially, but then when I stopped and looked at all the other applications, I kind of disagreed with it in the sense that if you put a cop in the intersection, it's the 3rd cop that we have to carry from an expense standpoint. We're making maybe a 15% margin. You're talking $10,000 of our sales are just going to that 3rd police officer for an event that's never had an issue. And so before you today, I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for fair application of what you guys have done previously. And I would even say that, even closing one street down, you're still closing down, more than you had other events. My final point, it's almost comical to me, I shouldn't say comical, it's ironic, that if you move forward with the city's recommendations on this, we are gonna be denied access to our own lot. However, almost every other event that I see other than 4th of July where it makes sense they use it and it's closed, where do you think they park? They park in our lot. And then you don't close your streets down and the same thing happens, they walk across. So an event that is on the lot that the church owned, rents it to St. Ben's, we're being denied access to something that everybody else in the town consistently uses. And it's really frustrating. Our event went down by 10% next year. I'm not a genius on causation, but the #1 complaint, and it was largely elderly, and I think Meg Schneider came in here. There's folks that want to attend this in wheelchairs. Where do you want them to park? We have a solution. We're not asking for anything that nobody else is getting. In fact, I'd agree to, like I said, the street being closed in front of us on Minnesota, which is more than you've done to other events. With that, I'll take any other questions.
Counselors?
So Dwight, Is there anything that Mr. Yasger said that would change your mind in terms of the recommendation that you put to the city?
Nope. I gave him a solution, the alleyway that runs east-west from Lot 1 to the overflow by the south part of the parking lot. They're talking about taking up, there's another entrance just south of that will allow them access. If we put a detour sign up at Baker, running them around and coming down First Avenue, they still have exclusive access to that lot, fully there. I question whether or not all of their event people can fit in that parking lot anyway, so once it's full, where are they gonna park? Are they gonna hand out a numbering system that the people that are handicapped can go 1 through 50, or are they, when it's full, it's full? You know, that's kind of where we're at. As far as traffic goes, yes, there is no parking on College Avenue, so it's of no benefit for them to keep it open or closed. But I question how many people are still gonna come across from either Heritage Hall, come up from walking off-site, wherever it is. And that's been the number one complaint from my officers working the event over the years, is there's a lot of people on foot. And it was a direction of the council a few years ago to city staff was to find safe recommendations so we do not have an accident. And just because we haven't had one in the past, doesn't mean we won't have one in the future. So there's a lot, this is a big footprint that's exposed from the outside to where people are driving by and they may have their attention divided, and it just takes one person to run out. So because this is loud and it's out in front and it's not normal, you don't see these tents here on a normal basis, it draws from people's attention. So
Thank you.
my recommendation was it will not impact their parking ability in that south parking lot, and the detour will be just a minimal impact to the rest of the residents.
Thank you. So.
Can I ask
No,
clarify?
no,
some-
Mr. Yasger, I'm gonna stand by, our chief's recommendation. And of everything that you said tonight, the one thing I'm taking away from what you said is we have to look at other events in terms of street closures, like La Jam. So thank you,
Sure.
thank you very much.
Okay.
I have nothing else to say.
I have a question for Dwight. So they still have access to that parking lot, and so how I'm understanding it is,
From where?
they are coming in from the alleyway.
No, they becoming, in this, they becoming north on College Avenue.
That's a closure.
Soft
So-
closure.
No,
This
the-
is the hard closure, and they can access the lot right here.
Oh.
Yeah,
they
so if I can
come through
clarify-
here.
I can clarify the map a little bit. So the
Thank you.
red lines are hard closures.
Okay,
Nothing's going through. So you see kind of by the south part of that lot there, that red line kind of midway through, that's a hard closure. So
the
that's
reason-
just to the north of the entrance
And the
into that
reason-
parking lot.
okay, perfect. And Dwight, the reason why you want that closed is just because of the development of the large group
It
in
just
that
takes
area.
vehicle traffic out of the equation.
Okay,
Foot traffic here.
oh, perfect, okay, thank you.
Dwight, is the increase from like 2 officers to 3 officers just because of the growth of the event or because of the additional street closures?
That was not our recommendation. We stayed with the 2 officers. They had brought up possibly renting a 3rd officer to keep that intersection open. So, I was good with just the 2 officers.
Okay.
I tend to think, and again, we're all speculating at this point, but 1 officer assigned to a T intersection, keeping College Avenue open, they're gonna have their hands full. Speaking of somebody who's worked the last 6 4th of Julys at that intersection, in the morning, there's a lot to keep your head on a swivel. So to ask an officer to stand there for 10 hours and be alert and try to keep cars that are going through there, it's just easier to block that off, make it a 90-degree turn with the proper signage, and you've taken the vehicle traffic out of it.
So if we were to leave this as proposed with the street closures, you're fine with 2?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Adam, Mooney, you had any further comment or question for Chris?
Your biggest thing is mobility equipment?
Yeah, and Dwight, thank you. I had asked a couple of the staff, like, have you been to our event? And the answer is no. So it was tough for me to understand. The people that are crossing from west to east, that are parking in the church parking lot, are largely elderly. And you're right, Kevin, I was looking for consistency. I think that's extremely important in city events. But yes, with mobility, as it's proposed here, it's something I can work with, but it also, I didn't understand that, Dwight, and if that's what you're trying to tell me over the phone, I did not understand that. when we had talked, you had said I could let people through the barricades. I was confused by that. I do think that it's important to understand, so if somebody's coming to our event from the north, I think closing this creates more congestion myself. But, you guys are the experts on, that, and, as Kevin pointed out, it's not consistent with your other events.
Any other questions for Chris?
It's my understanding that you just learned that you'd have access to the parking lot.
From that route, I mean, although not ideal, yes,
A happy medium.
yes, sure.
I think that's all we have for questions for you,
Okay,
Chris.
thank you.
Thank you. We are still in the middle of our public hearing. If anybody else wants to address the council on the subject of Oktoberfest, they're welcome to. Seeing nobody else come forward, we'll look to close the public hearing. Is there any further comment from the councilors?
This vote's gonna be on 2 officers. I think the verbiage said 3. So just a point of clarification, they
This-
would only require 2 officers.
The staff recommendation in our packet is for 3. So you could always make a motion to approve this with a modification if you wish.
Dwight, are you okay with that?
With
Yeah, again, it wasn't my recommendation, they just offered that
No,
up, so.
I think the recommendation is for 2,
Correct.
and the applicant wanted a third. So if we pass a motion to approve Rocktoberfest, which we will, there'll be 2 officers required, and then the applicant can work with the police department if they want to have a third officer at their expense.
Kevin, can I clarify that, or is that period over?
Go ahead.
Sure.
It was contingent on a solution I was coming up with to keep the road open would be put an officer in that, which Dwight obviously says is not effective, so I would withdraw that
Yeah,
request.
thank you. So it's to approve it with 2 officers. Does that make sense to everybody?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Seeing a motion and a second, any further comment for approving Rocktoberfest with 2 police officers? Seeing no further comment, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chris. On to item number 6, the rezoning of 17 Second Ave Northwest.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll be presenting the rezoning request that was submitted by Mark Martini, the property owner of 17 Second Avenue Northwest. He has requested a rezoning from R3 multifamily to B1 Central Business District. Currently, the site has the Second Avenue Cuts business on it. It's just north of the House Food and Tap. What prompted this request is the property owner had put asphalt millings on the property, and the city ordinance requires a hard surface of concrete or asphalt. And so he could seal that and have it in R3 zoning. However, he's limited to 50%. So that's also what prompted that rezoning request to the B1 Central Business District. It allows up to, actually, there's no maximum impervious in the B1 district. So with that, the future land use within your comprehensive plan does guide the property for Central Business District. So this rezoning would be consistent with your comprehensive plan. And again, he could cover the entire lot with that asphalt concrete, provided he seals it. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on the rezoning request. They are recommending approval of that request. So before you this evening, there is a resolution approving the findings of fact 2025-045, as well as a resolution approving the ordinance 2025-008.
Just for clarity for the council, this parcel is the barber shop north of the house.
Correct.
Is there any questions or comments? With that, I'll make the motion for the finding of fact resolution 2025-045.
Second it.
Seeing a motion as second, any further comment on the finding of fact motion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'll also make a motion on ordinance resolution 2025-008, establishing the rezoning.
I second that.
Seeing a motion as second, any further comment? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Therese. On to item number 7, a variance for height of accessory building, 31897 Cedar Ridge Road.
Yes, Randon and Tracy Ike, they are proposing to construct a detached pole shed at their property located at 31897 Cedar Ridge Road. It's part of the Sunset Ridge subdivision, and actually, when it was developed, it was in St. Joseph Township, and the city had annexed it in 2018. So during that time in the annexation, it was zoned rural residential, and much of that zoning district does allow the height of buildings to be higher than 20 feet. However, there were certain, during that time of drafting of that ordinance, there were certain residential subdivisions, if you will, that weren't necessarily small lots. For example, this was about 9 acres, but some of them are quite smaller. They were identified as residential subdivisions and had higher, stricter standards. So this is one of those examples where they're limited within the ordinance to 20 feet high. They are proposing 26, so a variance of 6 feet. And they are proposing that for compatibility to match their house. And as the roof peak that they are proposing to do would provide for better snow load and drainage of that. When you review a variance, you apply the practical difficulties test, which is established in state statute as well as your ordinance. And those were outlined within the resolution, the findings of fact approving the variance. Is that property owner proposing to use it in a reasonable manner? The finding is that they are. It would match the house. Is the applicant's request unique, given the property is zoned rural residential, and it is similar to other structures within that neighborhood? And lastly, does that variance alter the essential character of the neighborhood? And again, it would match the character of that neighborhood with the other sheds in the area. They're also proposing to put it in behind their house as well. So with that, there is a resolution adopting the findings of fact and approving that variance.
Thank you, Therese. Any questions from the council? I don't see any issue with this proposal because looking through the packet there, appropriate spaced away from wetlands. I understand the snow load issue. We're Minnesota. We have an abundance of that in the winter, so that's understandable. I'll make a motion for finding of fact resolution 2025-046.
I second that.
Seeing a motion as second, any further comment? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And on to item number 8, zoning text amendment for Bob Ethan.
Yeah, so Bob Ethan has requested a zoning ordinance text amendment to allow minor vehicle sales as a conditional use in the light industrial district. Mr. Ethan owns AMI Auction located at 30865 Kohler Court. It's an industrial park that was developed when it was within St. Joseph Township. Again, that was also annexed in 2018. Mr. Ethan sells recreational vehicles. The sales are completed all online, but the vehicles are stored outside. He is planning to purchase property just south on Sterling Drive to downsize his business. He would continue to sell vehicles online, but would store 3 to 4 vehicles on site. Both the properties are within the light industrial zoning district, and vehicle sales are not permitted. They're not a permitted use or a conditional use. His current operation is considered a legal non-conforming use by state law where it's allowed to continue. However, it doesn't transfer to a different property. Uses within the industrial district are generally manufacturing, warehousing, and assembly type industry to create jobs. Vehicle sales, including automobile and recreation, are allowed by conditional use within the Highway Business District. The Planning Commission did review this request, and they unanimously recommended approval of the ordinance amendment to allow for minor vehicle sales as a conditional use in the light industrial district, with the following items included in the definition of minor vehicle sales. And that would be, it was laid out in your staff report, but the maximum size of the lot would be 2.5 acres. No more than 5 vehicles stored or sold on the property at any given time, and then indoor sales and storage only. So with that, there's 2 requested actions this evening. A motion on the ordinance amendment, Resolution 2025-009, and then a motion on the summary publication, Resolution 2025-047.
Thank you, Therese. Any comments from the counselors?
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Ethan for all the years that you worked here in St. Joseph with AMI. An awesome business. Really gave us a lot of good, publicity with your billboards and things like that. I knew a lot of people that would go to your auctions. And I want to congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you. And I hope that this solution that you and Nate worked out is acceptable to you for you to be able to do what you want with this new space you're buying.
It's going to be bought.
So with that, I move to approve Ordinance Amendment Resolution 2025-009.
I second that.
Sorry.
Seeing a motion and a second, any further comment? All those in favor, excuse me?
You're not selling cars on consignment, are you?
I really don't want to work. I'm 73, and it's my man cave. There's a couple man caves out there. Gilman's got one, and my son's got one. It's going to be a nice place. They've been working on it. I own it now, and it's just a place to go. I said I can come home every day. She said, you need a job. So I'm going to be doing that. And it's, the dealer's license is something that I should say I need it because, for example, if you said, Bob, I'm looking for a car for my daughter.
Bob, if you keep talking, would you want to just jump up at the podium? Then the people at home can see you. Yep.
One of the things that I want to make clear is I'm selling AMI, and I'm going to sell it in its entirety, and the dealer's license will go with it. I'm going to tell them and force them to put me in a no-compete clause. As much as I like that business, I don't want to be tempted by it. The new building, there will be nothing outside except my truck when I come to work, and we have leased the front part of it to Chantel Jansky. She has, they are excited about having I'm trying to think of the showroom. That's going to be great for them. You're going to walk in the back and see a cool place, place to be. There might be a Corvette sitting in there, and I'm going to play around with some Mustang convertibles, and that's what I want to do. So I'm not going to I want nothing outside for sale, because the minute you have it outside, it means somebody's going to drive by and come in. I don't want that. So keep it neat and clean. I think the chief will tell you that I've had a dealer's license for 27 years. Never been a problem. My business there is neat and clean, and everything is taken care of. There's never been a problem. And this new place is going to be just as nice and a lot more fun. So.
Thank you, Bob. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion on summary publication.
I move to approve 2025-047.
Second it.
Seeing a motion and a second on the summary publication. Any further comment? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Bob.
Go retire.
Will the state of Minnesota requires a signature by the city in order to apply for the license? Is that something?
So your next step would be to submit that conditional use permit application, and I can follow up with you with an email, but I know Nate also shared information with you on that too, but I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
It's a pretty simple form. It's years ago. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Trying to find myself in our packet. Item number 9, Tourism Coordinator, proposed contract for Mary Bruno. David, do you have this, or is Mary carrying it for herself?
I do not. This came out of community development. I'm not sure if Teresa, if you are prepared for discussion, if you had some discussion with Nate or not.
Yeah, this one I'm not prepared for.
I did sit on the EDA meeting, so I can speak to it, at least open it.
Sure.
Okay.
So the EDA, and I think the city council had asked Mary to generate a contract for her services that she's been providing since 2018 for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. She's been getting paid $9,000 a year for those services since 2018, has not had any increase since then. The contract before you is to try to describe the services that she is going to provide for that stipend that she receives, and kind of hold her into those items, because I think she can speak for herself. I think she gets pulled in a lot of different directions that are kind of outside of what the scope is that we're hiring her to do. In looking at rates comparable for other CVBs for certain types of directors are doing the social media work that she does do, which is a lot more than just social media, but the wages that they receive are higher than that $9,000 on average, and so Mary's asking for an increase on that as well. And that increase will come partly from, well, her $9,000 will continue to be getting paid out of the lodging taxes that we receive, and the EDA is recommending that they'll take on the other $5,400 a year to bring up her annual stipend to $14,400. We don't collect enough in lodging taxes to cover that whole amount, so the EDA will absorb that cost out of their professional services budget. So
Thank
Mary
you.
can speak to her contract and what's in there.
I don't have any questions for you, Mary, but just thank you for everything that you've done for the city over the years, and I'm glad that we have something formalized for you, because it gives your position and what you're accomplishing for us more structure, and we're getting you more pay, which you duly deserve. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. The clarification is good for me too, so, yeah.
And I'd
Any
like
questions?
to second that in the System Act now as a city, so that Mary can actually do even more magic that she already is being able to just clarify that Joetown tourism, and then what I had noticed in here, CVB known as Joetown. And so just clarifying that for us as a city and the businesses, so that as she goes out now, that she's not ahead of those, she's her own entity for the city. And so being able to make sure we have a chairman for the CVB, and of course, they already have for Joetown Tourism. And so again, thank you so much, Mary, and I just keep on kicking it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? for
Yeah,
Mary?
my comment is, I support this 100%. Thanks for everything you do for our city.
Thank you.
I talked to Nate before he went on leave about who you would be accountable to, and I think we agreed that it would be the EDA as a group
Okay.
would, monitor this and hold you accountable for what you're working on, and that's all I have to say.
Adam Mooney, anything?
Love what you do. I think you put on a great event at the house the other day.
Yeah, sweet.
Looking forward to what you have to offer. And
Yeah, it's kind of blowing up, like we got all these businesses sending, getting involved, so that's huge.
Do you have a head count on how many showed up?
I mean, there was over 60, and I've probably gotten, investment from half.
Sweet.
That's amazing. Yeah, so we got big plans.
I think that's all we got for you. Thank you,
Okay,
Mary.
thanks, guys.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed tourism coordinator contract, fumbled.football, for Mary Bruno.
I second that.
Any other comment? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Thank you, Lori. On to item number 10, department reports. Any reports?
Just one real quick one, just for me personally. I want to take the time to give you formal notice that I will be gone for about 2.5 weeks, starting at the end of September into early October. So I will be working on making sure that we're as ready as possible for that time I'll be away, but I will be taking a little time away. So thank you.
So in that event, who fills in for you? I mean, who takes over running the city when you're gone for 2.5 weeks?
Typically,
I'm thinking Lori, or is it Kayla?
Kayla?
I don't know that it's formally put into our collective, into our documents here, but typically the finance director is what's called the acting city administrator in the city
Yeah.
administrator's
To delegate.
absence.
Thank you.
You gotta put that on a business card, Lori.
Slash.
I was gonna mention I am gonna be on vacation next week, visiting my in-laws down in Kentucky, so.
Okay. Ryan?
And I will be in Chicago Thursday through Sunday.
And then Nate.
We appreciate you, Dwight.
Dwight, can you give us some insight as to where we're at on trying to hire another officer? Are we gonna dangle some opportunities
Yep.
out there that you
Tomorrow
wanna
we're-
run past us to pass so that we can put some
Yeah.
incentives to hire another officer?
Correct.
Because you're still 1 or 2 people short, yes?
Correct. Yep. And so tomorrow I've got all the information put together. We're going to give to Kayla because she was gone last week. And so we're going to have it posted on the Minnesota Post Board and on the League of Minnesota Cities and wherever else we post it. So I'm going to get that to Kayla tomorrow. And hopefully, I think we're going to leave it open this time until filled instead of setting a deadline and just take them as they come in. So
Are we adding any other incentives like
Yep.
other cities are doing? Like,
correct.
so
The
what are we,
counts-
what are
yeah.
we adding?
So basically, we're gonna try to do on this round is, and there's a lot of language you can play with, and I looked at a lot of the postings. We're gonna go up to a 2-year, hire, basically. If somebody comes in with 2 years or less of experience, we're looking like a $1,500 incentive to complete probation. Some will say upon hired, some will say upon, FTO. I think through probation, which is generally 6 months to a year, they'll get $1,500, and then if they stay on with St. Joe for 2 years, they'll get the remaining $1,500. So essentially $3,000 hiring bonus, and the council gave us direction to go up to $5,000. So then if we get an officer who has 2+ years of experience, we would offer them $2,500 to complete probation, $2,500 to stay on for 2 years, hopefully getting them over that hump to want to remain here. And then we would front load 40 hours of vacation and 40 hours of sick leave, so that way they can come here. If they have a family and need to take some sick time, it's not like they have to try to earn it. It would be front loaded first.
Okay.
So those are what we're gonna start with. And Alec Tech just recently graduated however many students, and now they're basically taking their post licenses. So of the approximately 75% that don't have conditional offers already coming out of school, we're gonna try to see once of the 25%, how many will apply with us with these incentives, so. There's a lot of other incentives out there that are quite a bit more generous, but we're gonna stay within the council's direction of trying to keep it at 5,000 or less for this round. If it doesn't work, we'll come back.
Thank you.
With that, mayor and council reports, I personally have nothing to report this time.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm going to the Greater Coalition in Bemidji.
Oh,
Just wanted to put that out there.
awesome.
Can't wait to hear about
Thanks
it.
for doing that.
Yeah. Anything you guys have specifically that I should draw from that?
Yeah, ask the OCM about our license. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Bring that license back with you.
I move to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Second.
Like, that doesn't fall within your 6-year
Recording stopped.